And welcome, everybody. Dustin Harris, another mini-sode for you. I don't know, it might not be so short. The more I think about this, the longer it gets. So I want to remind you we're sponsored by ANOW Software. Just today, folks, I used ANOW Software. It was absolutely amazing what it can do for us, and I want to tell you about that experience in just a little bit. But for now, you can go to anow.com/coach. That's anow.com/coach and get a free 3 months to the All-Star team. Again, it's anow.com/coach. All right, folks, I want to talk a little bit about AMCs. Let me set it up this way. I will tell you right up front, I am not anti-AMC. About 85% of my work comes from AMCs. I have been criticized far and wide for that, but I am not ashamed to tell you that I work with AMCs. Now, I can tell you this, I don't work with crappy AMCs. Many of you have heard me talk about my A, B, and Y clients. A clients being the ones that pay me well, pay me quickly, don't have a lot of stips, good to work with, great clients, very dependable, loyal, and I love working for those, and I'm always going to put them first. I've got B clients that are, okay. I keep working for them because they're good enough, if you will. Their fees are good enough. Their turn time requests are good enough. Their stips are not, horribly taxing, those kind of things. And then there's the Y clients. The Y clients are, why the hell am I working for you? I shouldn't be working for you. I'm firing you. There's no such thing as a C client on my list. If you're a C client, you're a Y client. I don't deal with crappy clients. And that being said, I've been able to set up a business model that works with AMCs. I have realized that is the world that we live in. Not that it has to be. I certainly do some non-lender work. I also do some direct lending. I don't, by the way, include the direct lending in that 85% because to me, it's different. The 85% is strictly AMCs. Direct lending with brick and mortar local lenders is a different animal. Even though it's still lending, it's still Fannie Mae, it's still 1004. But that's me. That's how I work. And I've been not bashful at all on this program and in my newsletter and in my blogs talking about how to work reasonably with AMCs. As a consequence, I've been called a shill for the AMCs. Not even sure where that accusation comes from because I'm certainly not in any of their back pockets. But I can tell you this. Over the years, I had an individual come up to me at a conference one time, and she said to me, it's interesting. Appraisers are the only profession that I know of who curse the individual who gives them a paycheck more than anything. I thought about that. I thought that's a really interesting take on this. We get a paycheck. We continue to accept work from AMCs, and yet we complain. Fees are too low. Turn times are too short. Requirements are low. A low bar to entry. I get it, folks. I'm very aware. I've been dealing with AMCs for 20 plus years from the very beginning. I worked in the beginning for LSI. I mean, that's one of the oldest AMCs around, if not the oldest AMC. I know they're not around anymore. They've been bought up by others, but I've been doing work for AMCs for a long time, and I've also been doing other work as well, which I've already mentioned. And I'm telling you, folks, if you understand how they work and you are scrupulous about who you work for, folks, when I hear the complaints on the boards about the AMCs, I'm thinking, why the hell are you working for that kind of a company? Some of these things that they tell me, I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. So I am not pro AMC. I'm not anti AMC. I'm realistic. I understand that AMCs are what's going on right now, and I can choose not to work with them. I know appraisers that do. I've got very good friends that are appraisers across the country who say, I will not do an appraisal for AMC, and they do very well for themselves. They spend a lot of time and a lot of money marketing. That's fine. Great. It works for you. That's your business model. It's not mine. Currently, I don't mind working for AMCs, but I am very, very careful about the AMCs that I do work for. No, I'm not going to give you my list. If you're part of my all-star team, you know what the list is, but I'm not going to give it out here. That's not the purpose of today's program. Purpose of today's program is actually to talk about the bad side of AMCs and just get it out there and let you know that I'm very aware of the issues and then talk about some of the good about AMCs as well. Because I think, let me set this, the reason I decided to do this podcast today, I'll just tell you, is because every single time I know that's very detailed, okay? And anytime you use the word always and every, I understand it's probably not accurate. But every single time I hear people complain about AMCs or talk good about AMCs, it's either all good or all bad. And I just don't think that's the world I live in. It's not black and white. There's so much in between. So I want to talk about both sides. So let's just do a list here, shall we? This is in no particular order. These are just brainstorming ideas. In fact, I had this idea when I was sitting in my mastermind group in Salt Lake City here about a week ago. And in fact, it was exactly a week ago today. And I was sitting there in that meeting. We were talking about AMCs, and I heard some good and I heard some bad. And I said, in fact, we were done with the meeting. We were actually breaking up and heading to our airplanes and head back home. And I said, hey, guys, I just had this idea. What are some good things and some bad things about AMCs? And, I had already made my list. And, they added one or two other things, but it was pretty much the same list. And we had, 6 people around that table that day, and they pretty much made the same list that I had. So I'm pretty, sure, it's not scientific. I didn't go and survey 2,000 appraisers. I surveyed 6, 7 if you count me. And these are the pros and cons of working for AMCs that we came up with. I am certainly open to more. That's what the comment section is right below this video, okay? So those of you who see me on the Coach Cam, I'm pointing to the direction of where the comments go. Put them in the comment section. I would love to hear some feedback. If you absolutely hate AMCs, don't be shy. Let me know. If you love AMCs, don't be shy. Let me know. If you're kind of in the middle like I am, there's some good and some bad, let me know. But please let me know what I missed. Some good things, some bad things about AMCs that I might have missed. Okay, enough setup. Let's go with the list. Number 1 on the bad. Again, no particular order. These are just things that spilled out of my brain. And there's the phone. Let me close the door. Ay, caramba. Not a phone call all day till I start recording. Okay. These are in no particular order. These are just some things that came out of, spilled out of my brain as I was writing down. Okay, here we go. Number 1, bad thing about AMCs, no real relationship. I think you guys that have been doing this long enough know what I'm talking about here. It used to be that we had a very close relationship with our clients. I don't know about you, but I would bring them Christmas presents. I've gone golfing a couple times with mortgage brokers. There is this networking thing that happens when you're working with brick and mortar that just does not happen. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship. I've written blog pieces, and I think I've maybe even done a podcast or two about how you can and should develop a relationship with these big AMC companies, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Okay. Number 2, low fees. Now, I say this one hesitantly because I hear this a lot, that AMCs have driven the fees down and blah, 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 blah. Folks, I don't know about you, but I don't really see that. And I think that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, the A, B, and Y clients. Do I know that there's crappy fees out there? Absolutely. Do I see these advertised orders that come up and I think, I'll just say it, hell, $225 for a full appraisal in that area? Are you kidding me? I wouldn't even think about it. Even $325, I wouldn't think about it, right? I get it, folks, but those are not the AMCs I work for. I just choose not to do stuff for that kind of fee, okay? But I do know that it's out there, so I'm going to get it on the list, low fees. All right, scope creep. One of the problems that we have with AMCs is they work with multiple clients, okay? And sometimes they get a little lazy. And instead of saying, okay, I've got A, B, and C, actually, let's not do that because I'll get mixed up more than another analogy. Let's just say we've got lender 1, 2, and 3, okay? And lender 1, 2, and 3 all feed into the same AMC. And lender 1 has stipulations, and lender 3 has stipulations, and lender 2 has stipulations. And they all want specific things from the appraiser. So sometimes, instead of the AMC saying, okay, you're working for lender 2 on this particular assignment, and here is lender 2's requirements, what they sometimes do is they scope combine, okay? They grab all the scopes from all of them and they say, hey, lender 1 wants a picture of the street going both ways, and lender 3 wants a picture of the water heater, okay? So I'm just going to say on all the orders that come through this AMC, you're going to do the picture of the street going both ways and the water heater, regardless of what lender we're doing it for. Folks, that's just lazy, okay? I know it's their business model and it's their way they make money. They're just trying to make things simple. I get it, but it's a pain in the butt for us appraisers, right? And sometimes we get these engagement letters that are War and Peace like. They're huge. Thank goodness I have a paperless office, right? Okay, one of the things I don't like is the scope creep. Now, tell me what the lender wants, and if it's something I agree to and I want to make that part of my scope of work, then I, as an appraiser, decide that. But that's part of the negotiation. That's part of the decision. If you want to picture the street going both ways, am I, as an appraiser, going to charge more for that? That's a business decision that I need to make, okay? So scope creep, speed demands, okay, turn times, requiring that, hey, and I've got this before. I've had emails saying, hey, not even a rush fee asked for. Hey, here's an order. We need it back tomorrow. What, are you kidding me? Now, I do have an office that ask actually can happen and can happen with quality, but are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm going to charge at least a rush fee if I can even do it, okay? So speed demands, very, very challenging, difficult. It's much easier sometimes to deal with, brick and mortar, direct lending when it comes to those types of things, okay? Unknowledgeable customer service. You know what I'm talking about here, okay, right? You're talking about calling up the individual that is working for minimum wage, who answers the phone, is not an appraiser, hardly knows what an appraisal is. You're asking them questions. They have no clue. They're looking at their screen saying, well, it says that I'm supposed to do this. Okay, it drives me nuts, okay? Unknowledgeable customer service. By the way, most of these things can be mitigated. I'm just going to say it again. Most of these things can be mitigated if you will be careful about who you choose for your clients. Okay. The next one, questions that are already in the report. Man, it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts when I get a revision request, right? And it says, could you please address such and such? And I'm thinking, did you read paragraph 2, page 4? Obviously you didn't, so I bold it and send it back, right? And then they send it back. Oh, could you please tell us where you made this correction? Yeah, I just bolded the thing that was in there before. It drives me nuts, okay? Questions that are already in the report, sometimes they don't read your report. I once heard a story. I don't know whether it's true. I heard a story from another appraiser who said that in his addendum, hidden in his addendum, he put, call me at this number for a $100 reward if you are reading this sentence. He said he had it in there for almost 5 years before someone called him and said, are you serious about this reward? And he says, yeah, you're the first one that's called me in 5 years. In other words, nobody is reading my report, which means I guess we can put whatever the hell we want in our reports, right? Nobody's reading it anyway. All right. Kind of a minor thing, but kind of a major thing. And I get this complaint a lot when I'm dealing with appraisers one-on-one, helping them to be more efficient, more effective, when I'm coaching them, when I'm doing the mastermind meetings, uploading. Uploading is a pain in the butt. Okay, I'll just keep it PC here. Pain in the butt is what it is to upload. Why? Everybody has their own portal. You're using Mercury. You're using Appraisal Port. This guy's using his own. I mean, it just is such a pain. We actually have a database that tells us how to upload each of the reports. Now, if that's all it was, fine, great. This AMC uses this portal. This AMC uses that portal. This AMC uses his own portal. Fine, no problem. Got it. Doable, right? If they would work. And I'm telling you, there are some out there, I'm not going to name names, there are some out there that it takes us 45 minutes to upload a report. We've done an appraisal, it's all done, it's all finished, and it takes us 45 minutes to upload a report. Well, I'll tell you one thing, folks, I'm not uploading that report. I'm going to pay somebody else to do that by the hour so that I can go out there and make more than $100 an hour so I can pay them $12 an hour to upload the report, right? I hope you're doing that as well. One of those efficiency things, right? But uploading, what a pain. Okay, and finally, the borrower does not understand the fees. I'll tell you, folks, I've been on this bandwagon for a long time, and that is the HUD-1 statement, the other statements, and I know some state laws are going to this, thank goodness. Some are not. Mine is not one of them, where you can disclose on the report itself, where you're supposed to, actually required to disclose on the report, what part is the AMC's fee and what part is the appraisal fee. I've seen some of these. Some people have screenshotted these for me and sent them to me that would blow your mind. Appraisal fee, $325. AMC fee, $600. Are you kidding me? You're getting more than me? It doesn't really make any sense. Okay, folks, when we get back from the break, That was the bad, and I've heard it, and I've heard it, and I've heard it. And if there's more to add, please add. Please, I want to hear from you. But when we get back from the break, I want to actually tell you some good things about AMCs, maybe some things you haven't thought about. First, I want to pause here and tell you about an experience that I had today. So I've got an appraiser that is looking at possibly moving into my area and working with me. Yes, I am looking for an appraiser in my area. And I'm going to meet with him tomorrow. And we're going to spend all day together. And I know he's going to ask me about statistics, about what kind of volume we're doing, about what kind of fees we're getting, about where we're doing the volume, because he's going to take over a section of my area and I'm going to keep on another section of my area. And so I went to my employees, and they don't work a lot with the analytics tab. I do, because I work on my business, not just in my business on Mondays. So I went to them and I said, hey, this is what I need. I need, and I just laid it out. How many reports did we do last year? How many of those were desktops? What's our normal fee? How many we did in each of these counties? And I also want the last 90 days, and I want that a separate number, okay? And so I went back out about 20 minutes later, and I see all of these papers on one of my assistant's desk, and she's got a highlighter, and she's highlighting things. And I looked at her and I said, what are you doing? Like, we don't even believe in paper. Like, we still even have paper around here? Like, we have a ream of paper somewhere? You actually found it? And she said, well, I just thought if I printed these out that I could highlight the stuff and like add them all up with a calculator. I'm like, no, let me show you the analytics tab in ANow. And within seconds, she had all the answers. Folks, that's one of the things that ANow will do for you. If you want to know what your business is doing right now, and you just want to hit a button or two to figure it out, you want to know how many you've done this month, how many you did last month, how many you did this month compared to last year this month, right? Those types of things can be done so simply in ANow with the Analytics tab. You want to keep track of what your business is doing. Check out ANow software. You can try them right now for free. Go to anow.com/coach. That's anow.com/coach, and start transforming the way that you keep track of your business statistics. And welcome back, folks. We're kind of an interesting topic for a mini-sode today. We're probably running a little bit longer than a mini-sode normally takes, but wanted to give you a little bit of an idea that I'm trying to paint the picture here that there's good and bad in everything. Those that say that AMCs are all bad, I mean, I understand that argument. I really do. And I understand appraisers who say, you know what, they've destroyed the industry. Hey, I get it. I don't think you're wrong in having that opinion. But what I do think is that it's interesting when you can kind of look and step back and say, maybe there's good and bad in everything. I've tried in the first half of today's minisode to point out some of the bad things about an AMC, some of the talking points that you hear a lot about, some of the negatives of going to an AMC model. I get it. I deal with the crap as well. Okay. Again, I want to emphasize that doesn't mean that you have to deal with all that crap. There are such things as good AMCs. I work for plenty of A clients. I love them. I work for some B clients. I like them. Okay. I don't work for any Y clients because I hate them, and I've thus fired them. Okay. But let's talk about some of the good and some of these points you may not have thought about. Some of the good about AMCs. There is some good out there, folks. Just hang tight, right? First of all, quality control checking. Now, in my office, we go through at least 4 sets of eyes before any appraisal goes out the door, okay? One of them is I'm going to call her a trainee. She's not officially a trainee right now. She's in the process of re-upping her trainee's license, but I'll call her a trainee. So I've got my trainee who always looks over my reports. I've got myself, obviously, who always looks over my reports. We've got a company that we use that also has a human being looking over the reports to quality control check them. And then before they go out the door, I talked about that upload process. The individual that I pay $12 an hour to upload those reports also goes over a check of that report. Now, she's not an appraiser. There's certain things she doesn't know to look for, but she will check to make sure that the adjustments are going in the right direction, that things are spelled correctly, that there's just not things that we have missed after going through already 3 sets of eyes, okay? One of the great things about an AMC is they will give you another quality check. Now, I know a lot of us are like, oh, these quality control things that come back, these revision requests, these corrections, they're such a pain in the butt. Yeah, I agree. But folks, how many of those corrections come back and they actually saved your butt because you didn't actually turn it into the lender before it went through a third party, the AMC, who caught a really screwy thing? Okay, I'm not going to admit this publicly, but I'm going to hypothetically say that I may have, hypothetically, turned in a report without a freaking value on it before. Can you imagine that getting to the lender and what an ass I look like? Oh no, the AMC caught it, hypothetically, and said, Dustin, you kind of forgot to put a value there. Now, I had the value in the sales comparison approach, hypothetically, but I didn't hypothetically have it in the final value down there where my signature goes. Okay? How did we miss that? I don't know. Well, it was before we did all these checks that I just told you about. I'll tell you that, if it actually happened, which of course it didn't. Hypothetically, those types of things happen. Now, that's a non-typical thing. Okay, that's a pretty unusual thing. But how many times have you had a request come back that says such and such? And yeah, maybe it's a bit of an annoyance, but if you think about it, it's a damn good thing that AMC caught that thing before you sent it on to the lender. Folks, they may not be trained in specifics as far as what you do, okay, but they are trained in compliance. That's part of their job, is regulation compliance, okay, and making sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. And I, for one, am sometimes very grateful for revision requests which come back before the lender sees the report of something pretty major that I may have forgotten, okay? Another good thing about AMCs is they are a quick sign up. They're very, very easy to sign up with. Now, I know people are saying, what are you talking about, Dustin? It's like a big old honking, list of things, an application. I've got to do samples, and I got to do this, and letters of recommendation. Hey, I get it, folks. But once you put all that stuff together, it's really not that big of a deal to put it together and send it off to an AMC. Now, why am I pointing this out? Because you're able to get signed up very, very quickly with AMCs. You can really even go to a new area, get geographically competent, which, by the way, is not a thing, but get competent in the geography that you're in, feel confident in that marketplace, and then start signing up with AMCs pretty rapidly. It's a very, very easy process. Now, I talk to my friends that do mainly marketing to non-lender business, and I've got several mastermind students that do both AMC and the non-lender stuff, and they all tell me the same thing. Very easy, very quick. You can get up and going with an AMC. You can start a new business as an appraiser very quickly if you're willing to do AMC work. It's a much harder and longer and tedious process to build up the relationships that you will need, and the marketing and the money that it takes to do a non-lender. Not that it's not worth it. I mean, look at Ryan Lundquist out of Sacramento, right? The guy is a poster child for somebody who has developed an incredible business doing mostly non-lender work. Now, he's put in blood, sweat, and tears to get there. Now, you can do it as well. It's not just Ryan that does that. I've got several individuals that I know that have done that. Okay, he just comes to mind. It's worth doing if that's the type of business that you want to do. But if you want quick and easy signups, be able to get on with clients very quickly, AMCs are very easy to do, okay? It's also very easy and cheap to stay on long-term, okay? This is kind of related to the prior point, but it's kind of a separate point in the sense that once you are signed up, unless you do something incredibly stupid, most of the time, tenure is pretty good. I've been with some AMCs, well, I talked about one that I've been with that is no longer that company, but I work with the other company that bought them out a very long time and enjoy working for them very, very much. Okay, consistent work. AMCs do the hard work to get the clients and put the client list together. You're not out there beating the streets, talking in front of realtors, doing all of these things that, by the way, I do myself. I'm not opposed to. I think they're very good things to do if you want to build up that non-lender business. But if you want consistent work, for the most part, AMCs are a good thing. Now, I know there's some of you screaming at your earbuds right now, and you're saying, well, Dustin, what if the market goes down? Hey, I get it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I didn't say I do 100% work for AMCs. I didn't say I did 100% work for lender. I've got some other things going on, and you should as well. But for the most part, we get pretty consistent work with AMCs. Okay, direct deposit. A lot of these AMCs are going to do direct deposit. I love that. Love the fact that my money can show up in just a few days after closing. And by the way, if you have one of those AMCs that's not closing that quickly or that's not paying that quickly, guess what? Maybe you have a Y client and you need to get rid of them and go to the B and the A client list instead. Okay. Finally, less education They speak the language. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, some of you are going to say, well, I don't think so. I talk to people in India all the time. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the appraisal language, okay? The nice thing about AMCs is I don't have to do a lot of educating about how to read an appraisal report. Now, when I do non-lender work and I follow up typically with a phone call, I get all kinds of questions. Dustin, we have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, but you only marked us down as a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. And I've got to go through the process of explaining where the GLA is and where the below grade is. We have basements in our area, so I have to explain. Those of you who don't have basements, folks, you have no idea how much education goes into teaching people how to read an appraisal report, the difference between gross living area and below grade living area, okay? That's just one of the examples. Many, many other things take place when you're dealing with non-lender type work that goes into the education that I know some of you are saying, yeah, the people that are talking to me on the other end of the line that are at the AMCs, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Hey, I get it. I've dealt with those people as well. But for the most part, they do speak the language. They do know what the word USPAP is. That's not a word. It's an acronym. But they do know what it is, and they understand it. When you say, hey, you understand that USPAP won't allow me to do that. Typically in these AMCs, they've got some chief appraisers. They've got some real-life people that understand what they're doing. I know there's exceptions, okay? For the most part, though, I think there is some good and some bad. Now, if I look and I count up all of these bullet points, I've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bad points, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the bad outweighs the good. If that keeps you from doing AMC work, hey, more work for me, more work for my colleagues across the nation. I'm not anti-AMC, folks. I've been accused of being a lapdog for the AMCs. I'm not, folks. Here's the deal. You got good clients. You got bad clients. You've got work that you've got to do to market to some. You've got work that you've got to do to market to others. It's up to you as a business owner how you want to work. I choose to work for A and B AMC clients as well as non-lender and direct lending as well. I hope today's lesson is that there is not a black and white idea about AMCs. Hey, even Mark Skapinitz works for AMCs, okay? The guy can really get on a rant when it comes to AMCs, but even he has some A clients that he works for the AMCs. So, folks, I hope if you're not doing AMC work that you consider it. If you are doing AMC work, I hope that you'll consider that if you're having a crappy time with it, maybe it's the clients you're working for. And we as a profession need to stand up. And I'm sorry to get on my soapbox here as we end, but folks, don't put up with crappy AMCs. When I hear people complain on Facebook and other places about the crappy things that AMCs are doing, I have to keep asking myself, then why the hell did you take the assignment from them? And why are you going to take the next assignment next week when they give you a new one? Okay? You got to ask yourself the question, as a business owner, who are you going to work for? I choose to work for great clients who pay me well. I'm grateful for it because I bring home money that I can pay my mortgage with, that I can pay my car payment with, that I can feed my family with, and yeah, I can even take a vacation every once in a while with. I'm grateful for that. I hope you are too. Speaking of being grateful, hope you're grateful for the business that you're in, the profession that you're in, and if you want to do even more with what you've got, I know it's a cliche, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you want to work smarter, not harder, please check out the Appraiser Academy. We just started. It's an online meeting once a month where you have an opportunity to learn from me for the first hour in a webinar-style presentation that's interactive, by the way. I take questions throughout it. We talk together, and I teach you about all kinds of things such as vision, taking the vision of your business to the next level, talking about the three-leg stool, the technology side, the human resource side, and the procedural side. And I'm not talking about in general here. This is very in-depth information about how I run my business and how I help my clients to run more efficient businesses. And then we move into the second part of the online meeting where you can ask specific questions about your specific appraisal business needs. Hey, Dustin, I'm looking to hire somebody. She's not quite who I want, but she's pretty good. Tell me your opinion. Hey, Dustin, this new disto that's out, what is your opinion on that? Do you use the Bluetooth feature? Do you not? Why would I want to pay more instead of a Bosch? Folks, these are the things we're going to hash out on a monthly basis as you're part of the Appraiser Academy. Check it out right now, a free month. You can get a free month. Just reach out to me, the coach at theappraisercoach.com, and I will give you the coupon code for a free month of the Appraiser Academy. Hope you will join us, folks. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.